There we go.
So it looks like we've got two people. So let me introduce myself. My name is Lady Landinn de Marest. I currently live in Ontario. I was the Ontario Kingdom Chatelaine for 5 years. I stepped down last year, and before that, I was the branch chatelaine for the largest branch in the kingdom, which is the Greater Seattle area. And then on top of that, I have been a technical recruiter for the last 20 years. And what that means is I live in technology. It is my world. I do all of my hiring on social media platforms. I do all my marketing on social media platforms. And even on top of that, before I became a recruiter, I was working at Microsoft for about 9-10 years. I got my first email address at Hotmail when they bought Hotmail, and I still use it as my main personal address. And so I've been using Office, I've been using Hotmail, and then when they started rolling out Office 365, when they started developing all of the online application suite, I started using it then. So that's kind of why I offered to do this class, because I used it. When I was getting together, we did classes for we have an annual, we call it the Collegium here in Ontario. We do classes, there are arts and sciences, but there's also an administrative track. I was helping out our Kingdom web minister when we were transitioning to Office 365. I put together like just a little presentation, just how do you set up your Office 365? How do you use it? Just real quick, because I've done it so much and I've been using it for 15-20 years now. So that's kind of why I'm kind of doing this and why I'm actually qualified to do this. I would like this to be kind of interactive. So I would like to ask anyone who's attending, what questions do you have? What would you like to go over? I'm actually going to open up one of my email accounts that have Office 365, and then also open my other one, which I actually have a whole bunch of my SCA stuff on. But what would you like to see, and what would you like to get out of this class? Please don't be shy, or type it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Do you know how to use Office 365? Do you have an account where you use it? Or are you talking about an officer account for your kingdom that the SCA provides? Anyone? Okay. Why are you here?
It sounded like an interesting introduction to attend.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. This is normally what we call an officer track in Ontario, because it's normally something, since we're using it, but I'm just going to share it with you kind of just as an end user. So let me go to my 365. Let me build this out. Give me 1 second. I just need to get, I have the unforgivable habit of actually having a gazillion things open. Okay, so let me share this. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to start from using Office 365 from your email address. Okay. Trying to window. Okay. So this is my actual Twitter account that my SCA account that I use for SCA stuff. So I think I want to be really transparent. I have probably 6 email addresses, and I cross post across most of the platforms. So I have a Twitter account under my SCA name. I don't use it all the time because I'm usually logged in using my personal one that's also my professional one for being a recruiter. So this is my account, my email account that I use less, but it is the one that's tied to my specific SCA accounts. So if you have an Office 365 account, where you want to go is this is your inbox. So you want to navigate up to this little area where you have all of these little icons, the app launcher, very similar to the one that's in G Suite. So you want to look at, these are all of your different options you can use. And so you can open Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote. You can open all of these from this particular place. I'm going to start with Word because I think that that's an easier one to share. and I am going to copy and paste something from another document that I was using. This is just I'm going to copy and paste this directly out of my Word that I have on my computer just to start a document. It takes a couple seconds kind of to get all of the options up. Shouldn't take that long. There we go. So there are a few things that are a little different in editing on Word than it is when you're just using it on your desktop. Just some of the functionality is just a little bit different. It's a little bit pared down, but you don't have to save. As you can see, there's no just save. It's save as if you want to save it as something different. One of the things is while you're working on any kind of a document in Office 365, editing it specifically different than using your desktop version, it automatically saves. So it's automatically saved, and as you can see, it is saved to your OneDrive, your specific OneDrive, which is also in the same attachment that I was pulling up. So here's your OneDrive. This is kind of where you keep everything. So as you can see, this is the document I was just working on. Group sharing, thank you. So this is the document I was just working on. So I can treat it just as you would for any other document that you would be working on. As far as editing it is concerned, the biggest positive in my book is you do not have to save it every time you make a change, or you're not going to lose your work. So it functions just the same as Word. I'm going to assume most people know how to use Word. Is that incorrect? Does most everyone know how to use Microsoft Office, the basics? Yes? No? Okay, I'll assume. So one of the nice things is you can share this document out, and you can share it two ways. You can share it either if you want to collaborate on a document, a spreadsheet, or you want to collaborate on a documents, like say you have multiple people that are putting together a presentation, or you really just are trying to get notes from a meeting and different people are taking different notes. Everyone can actually access this from Office 365. All they need is a link. So if it's a collaboration and you're okay with people collaborating on it, you can allow other people to edit, and you just need to click this button. You can set an expiration date for the collaboration. So say you're in a brainstorming session and you're working on putting together the different speaker list, or you're working on putting together the content. You're working on a research paper with 2 or 3 other people. Everyone can have access to it. Everyone puts down all of their notes. They finish their editing, and then you can once that's done, you can disallow the editing, whoever the owner is on their 365 account. You can set an expiration date. You can password protect it if you want, if it's sensitive information. So these are just some of the ways that you can actually share out the document and edit it and have multiple people working on the same thing. It's very similar to a Google Doc, except Google Doc does not always allow for password protecting, which is one of the biggest challenges with using Google Docs. So the other way you can share the link is you can either send the link via mail. So say I'm going to say SCA@SCA.org. If you have a valid email address, or you can put single people in here. You can type in specific email addresses like and those are my personal email addresses. And then you can type a message. Again, no different than anything else. And then you can hit send, and it'll get sent out. Yeah, whatever, that's me. You can send it out. The other thing you can do is you can copy a link, and this link it will give anybody who has the link the opportunity to look at it. And unless you have the edit permissions enabled, they won't be able to edit, but they'll be able to see it. So you hit copy, and then you would put it in the correct area. Here we go. So I'm going to send this. So now you should all be able to go to this link that I just put in the comments, I think. Oh, wait, hang on. Trying to put it. So that's the link. You should be able to go and you should be able to look at that document. I didn't give everybody edit permissions, but you should be able to see it. Am I back to sharing? Okay. So the other thing you can do is you can build out folders on Office 365. So say I wanted to build out a folder for resource planning. So I can build out a folder, and then I can then upload anything I want to into this folder. I can upload any type of document. I can put spreadsheets. I can put photos. I can put a list of Word document. I can put a PowerPoint presentation. I can basically get all of the different pieces that I want to organize in here. So I can put the financials. I can put the proposal. I can put the event bid form. I can put all of this in this one document, and then I can actually share the entire document out the same way I did a single document. So that's one of the reasons why I personally really like being able to use this. I like the interface is a lot more integrated. And now that the SCA has been implementing this as the platform that we use for communication, I find it a lot easier to use. Are there any questions so far? Anything I can answer?
I did have a question. So the SCA overall is going with Office 365 because I thought I heard our kingdom is going with Google Apps. So not sure where the disconnect is there.
So the SCA has a blanket site license at no charge from Microsoft to use Office 365. You can make the decision on comfortable. You can make the decision as a kingdom to use something else, but the official, the overall SCA is saying that we can use Office 365. My biggest complaint about Google is the lack of security. It's much less secure because you don't have the same kind of password protections that you can put on both individual documents as well as folders overall.
Thank you.
Sure. So how much functionality does Office 365 lose versus something like a full-featured Word? It loses a bit of functionality in some of the more advanced functions, editing functions. So, you know, here's Word, here's the Word desktop Word. So, you know, there's the mailings functions, there's references, there's design options. You know, you can still insert all of these. You lose some of the more advanced editing functions like annotations for bibliography, things like that. But you still have you can still build out just about any kind of documents. You can do track changes. It works pretty much along that way. I would say that Word as the standalone application is meant for businesses, and it's meant for, you know, doing really in-depth communication, whereas Office 365 is pretty robust enough for most any need that a group like ours would have it, or an individual, certainly, unless you are a professional writer. Or the same thing with the spreadsheet. Track changes. I use it for work and like. Any tips on capabilities that are useful or not well known? Yes, I would say probably the two functions that are the most useful, and I will have to look this up because I haven't done it in over a year and a half. You can actually use your Office 365 to create an opportunity for officers to submit their reports. You can also use it to create polls, so you don't have to go to an external service like SurveyMonkey. And you can make it anonymous if you want. And again, you still have that flexibility to send certain parts of it to certain groups of people, as versus you know, having to send everything to everyone. So those are, I think, those are the two little known functions that I've used them for. I think that the thing I like the best about it is that you can edit something in the document on your desktop. Like say you want to do something at work, and you want to start a document, or you want to work on a document at work on your lunch hour, or you take your laptop home, or you're working from home right now and you're doing everything rather than having to switch from computer to computer. I think the nice thing is you can actually either upload an existing document and edit it in Word, or vice versa. You can log in from anywhere. You can edit down, and you don't have to download the entire document to actually just edit it, because it's compatible with your desktop application. Does that help? You can still embed things like video in Word docs, or you can use all the animations in your PowerPoint presentations. All of that functionality is still available. And the best thing about it is you can edit all of that as you're working on it on any computer where you have access to Office 365, which should be anywhere you have a web browser. So I would, what are the programs that most people are not familiar with? I can go over those. I use pretty much everything. I'm not in accounting or finance, so I don't really use Excel for anything other than list building and kind of planning, using it more as a project management tool. But I'm very familiar with Word, and I'm very familiar with PowerPoint, and I've used pretty much most of the functionality. So what are the programs that you would like to learn more about, or you think would be more helpful for you in your SCA careers? Anyone? You can also use the schedule. Yeah. You can also use, calendaring. Okay, sure. Let me pull it up. So go back here and go to your calendar. So you can use this as a calendar. Huh?
You're not sharing your screen right now.
I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry, well, that's not helpful, is it? Okay. So here's your calendar. You can use this. Someone please mute. Thank you. You can use your calendar, and the nice thing about it is you still have the share option, and you still can share this out with other people. And you can change the settings and permissions per person or per group as you want to go along. So you can absolutely use this as the calendar for your team. You can use this for your branch. Here is where you can share it out via links. Thank you. So you can add a contact, you can import your contacts, you can build out a contact list, and these are people that can share it with you. You can add members to groups, and that's how you would want to build out the people who can use the calendar and collaborate with it. So it's right here. I just want to make sure I captured that. So like say I wanted to, let me add an event. So I'm going to add an event. We're going to have so say I'm going to put a calendar on here for fight practice and say, hey, we're updating fight practice. We're going to meet at 6:30. We're going to go until 8:30. And I can put down, Wharf Park, figure it out. And then I can invite attendees, and I can base it off of lists, or I can base it off of individuals. I can share it with the entire barony. You can use your baronial email address. You can use your household email address. So these are really, really good ways that you can use this to send out, and you can have a reminder set. And then you can share this with just about anyone you want. So these are ways that you can use it. It's robust enough, and it's got a lot of flexibility for sharing in a broad application, in large groups, or in small groups. So yes, you can use the calendar just like you would use the calendar on your desktop. I'm not really conducting a directed search attending your class. I'm not. Okay, conducting a directed search attending your class. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm glad it's helpful. Anything else? I think most people don't use Office as much as they use Google, and having lived in G Suite for 6 months, I really came to value the flexibility and the navigability of working with Office 365. The other thing I'd like to say is I have used Teams, I've used Slack, I have used Zoom Teams, I have used Google's sharing, and I actually like Teams the best of all of those platforms for collaboration and messaging. I think that it's tracked a little bit better, and I think that it's actually built out a little bit better in terms of where how you use it. So let me go ahead and find it. I don't know if everyone's used Teams. I think Teams is less well used than a lot of the functions. I think Teams may be a paid account. I know that we've used it for the Office 365. We've used it at the Kingdom level and on tier. And I think that Alicia, who was giving another class earlier, was probably better. Teams is a really, really powerful tool to use. I do use it for work, and I really do like it. And it's a much cleaner UI than Slack or using the Google Meet. I find it much easier to use for making calls as well as for collaborating. That's pretty much everything. I told them I only needed half an hour, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Let me show you my other, I have another account that I use. I'll show you. This is more my my mundane personal one. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. So this is where I have a lot of things. This is where I share a lot of my documents. So this is my personal one. So I keep a lot of my photos here. I back folders up everywhere. You can see that this is where I have a lot of different folders, SCA resume resources. Well, that's not helpful because it's got nothing in it. I put together this really amazing fabric resource spreadsheet that I share with anybody who's interested. So I've been building this out the last couple of years. This is a spreadsheet where I have taken information or research that I've done from almost every online vendor or merchant I can find that is a fabric merchant. And as soon as it uploads, we will. Great. Takes a while to load because it's pretty big. So I cover linen, wool, hemp, silk, ecclesiastic, and then those vendors that have specifically historical reenactor or historically inspired fabrics. So that would include Sartor. So as you can see, this is the master. And this has just about every flippin' vendor of fabrics that I think anyone in the SCA would be interested in. And I get it from Facebook, I get it from discussions, I get it from tweet, I get it from ads, I get it from all kinds of things. So here's liturgical. So there are several vendors that actually have fabric that is specifically for use in the church or in other types of ecclesiastic or religious services. So just as an example, this is the latest one that I found. They do both historical and liturgical, and this is by far my favorite vendor. But you can see that I just click into it, and then here's the historic fabrics that they have. They've got 60 or 70 of them in different colors. There we go. And I just ordered some that I'm waiting to arrive. So here's an example. So it gives you a little bit of information about the actual fabric. Sometimes it'll tell you, where it's from. It's a brocade. Sometimes it'll say if it was, 13th, 14th, 15th century, Byzantine, whatever. But what I can do is I can actually share this out with anybody. I don't let anyone else edit this, but I'll copy a link. I'll hit it, I'll copy it, and then I will just go ahead and I will drop it into and there you go. You get this fabric. I share this out with anyone who's interested around or on the SCA. It's been shared out many times on Facebook, quite a bit. So that's just kind of a, how I personally use the information. This is how I use it. And then if you want to return back to my personal, I have, newcomer's guide booklet from a while ago. I've got some stuff from Avical. I did a white paper in a class on demos as a chatelaine. So I've got that. I've shared that out with many, many chatelaines. I've given the class at Penzic and at our kingdom information sessions. So those are other ways you can share it, and it stays forever. I mean, it doesn't really, you have an exorbitant amount of space, so you can keep just about anything you could potentially want to keep a file in, and you can build out a library of whatever you want to do, and all the different sorts of documents that you can put together: PowerPoint, OneNote, Excel, Skype. So these are, anything that you can do with Office 365, you can share in one folder based on a theme or a project that you're working on. Any questions? Okay, I mean, I'm willing to answer questions and anything else. It's really, since Outlook is free, I don't see any reason why, if you want to use this, for your SCA, managing your SCA stuff, I see no reason why not to just create a free account and use it. You don't have to use it for the email. You could just use it for the Office 365. It is free with every account. And I think it has better security features than Google. So that's one of the reasons why I like it better. All right, I think that's everything. We could probably stop the recording.